Secretary General here in Svalbard.
Well, I think it's a great idea. I think it should be one of a couple of visits to the Arctic, because I would love for him as well to come and see the Canadian Arctic and visit the communities that are most negatively impacted by this in terms of the cultural impacts that are there. But I think it's great. I think it's a great initiative on part of Norway to bring him here to the ice brim and see for himself the actual conditions of the changes that are happening here.
Great. You're representing also the many strong voices. Do you think he is getting more and more aware of this connection also between...
Yes, indeed. In fact, his comments were very helpful in that way, because the Many Strong Voices is about connecting the vulnerable peoples of the world, the Arctic and small island developing states and others. So I think the fact that he mentioned that even in his talk is hopeful that he will understand that the many strong voices are the people to work with, because they are the ones who are most negatively impacted by climate changes. So it's hopeful.
Meeting of the Secretary General here in Svalbard.
Well, what I'm expecting is that we can have a chance to discuss some of the important issues surrounding climate change and the small island states. As you know, we've been a very strong advocate of the climate change issue, and I would like him to take a bigger role in the fight against climate change, especially for the small islands.
The Many Strong Voices is really the background which you are representing here.
Yes, of course. This is a coalition between the Arctic peoples and the small island states. And we want to have a stronger voice in the UN as well as in the climate change negotiations, because we are at the front lines of climate change, and we will be the first one who will suffer from the impacts of climate change.
The atmosphere. And while the Arctic is melting, the small island development states is sinking. Introduce the first speaker, His Excellency, Secretary General of the UN, Ban Ki-moon. The floor is yours.
It's a great honor and pleasure for me to meet you this morning after my extensive, most rewarding visit to the Arctic. This is not the first time for me to see all these glaciers. I visited Antarctica 2 years. I found that, and I was told, again by many distinguished scientists who are here with me, that if emission trends continue to accelerate like this, the Arctic could be virtually ice-free. It is highly unlikely that Arctic sea ice will ever recover. Sea ice melt in the Arctic will cause a serious feedbacks in the climate, including temperature rise and altered Arctic Ocean circulation patterns. Methane trapped in permafrost and on the seabed is escaping into the atmosphere. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, gave a range of scenarios. It is clear that we are looking at the worst case scenarios unless we act now. I will take this message to the World Climate Conference, which will take place in Geneva tomorrow. I'm heading to Geneva this afternoon. I will take the same message to the world leaders, the high-level summit meeting on climate change on September 22nd in New York. I will tell them we have less than 3 months to the climate change meeting in Copenhagen. In terms of negotiating days, we have only 15 days left, including Copenhagen conference meetings. I'm honored to share this platform with Minister Solheim. Norway is doing so much to support the United Nations, not just for climate change, but across the board, including development pillars and human rights. Norway is integral to all our work on sustainable development. I'm also honored to be able to hear the views of Dr. Pyatt. Small island developing states stand in the front line of climate change. So too to the people of Arctic North, for whom Shelawat Cloutier has worked so tirelessly. I'm sitting here together with so many young people who will be the owner of our next generation. This is our moral and political commitment and responsibility.
I think it was a once in a lifetime experience for all of us. It gave the Secretary General of the United Nations a platform to impress upon the world the severity of what is going on in the Arctic. It's melting down at a very rapid speed. No one else could have told this to the world in so clear words as we have seen the Secretary General doing from 80 to 81 degrees north yesterday night in the Arctic in modern times. So there is no doubt about the severity. What we are particularly afraid of is a self-amplifying process with less ice, less reflection back, more heat absorbed by the water, and then we go into a self-amplifying process where more heat will bring down the ice cover even more rapidly. And the world should need this, and the Secretary General is the best placed person, and his also personal involvement and leadership in this area is much appreciated by our government and most certainly by everyone.
I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Secretary General, of course. It's wonderful to meet you again. Minister Solheim, my fellow panelist, Ralph Payet of the Seychelles, also to all of the students here today, and some familiar faces of people I've worked with, and of course the Samis, whom we Inuit have worked with for many, many years, our fellow Indigenous peoples of the North. So I'm very honored here today to be speaking to you, to once again focus the world's attention on what is happening in the Arctic and the rapid human impact.
A colleague from the Arctic and students, and ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's cold here. But it's great to be cold. It's great to be cold because we need the cold for the small islands to survive. And this is the central message that I want to send this morning. And I want to talk to you about the small island states, but I think you can go on the internet and look up Seychelles, look up Kiribati, look up Maldives. These are a wonderful place we all love to go. But they are at risk, ladies and gentlemen. They are at risk because of the consequences of us as humans. Our constructive nature will be consuming the resources of this planet without thinking about tomorrow. We'll be consuming the resources of this planet without thinking about the future of mankind. And I think this is the message you can think of when you are researching about the islands.
Let me then also, since this is an audience of scientists, tell you that in a way you are now in the dream world of scientists.